Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. As you can guess, we're all waiting for the president to arrive, and so bear with us. My job is basically to tell you a little story. My name is Carmen Burbano. As my colleague just introduced me, I'm the director of the School Meals Coalition Secretariat. I work for the World Food Program. And I've worked in school meals for about 22 years. In the last few days, some of you have come up to me and said, when I think about school meals, I think about Carmen. So I just wanted to say, I joined WFP when I was about 25 years old. And my first posting was in Tanzania, so not far from here. I moved from my home country of Ecuador. And although WFP does a lot of things and was supporting the government of Tanzania at that time with many interventions, I fell in love with school meals from that age and really have devoted my entire career to this program. I fell in love with it because I realized how transformational it is, how important it is for children's lives. It makes sure that children get to school. It's an incentive for parents to send children to school, particularly girls. It's an intervention that's very important for children's nutrition, for their health. But it's also very important for local economies. It's important for a market for smallholder farmers. It can help us to boost employment, particularly for women. And it's a really fantastic platform for community development and now more recently for climate action. So for me, when I looked at this and when I saw the potential when I was very young, I decided that this was something that I really wanted to focus on to expand access to these programs for children around the world. Now, a few years after that, it became quite clear to me that the only way to do that was to get governments to take this responsibility and to take leadership for these programs as they expand them. Because agencies like the World Food Program and other NGOs, we're very well-intentioned, but we're not here to stay. We are not the sustainable solution. The sustainable solution is governments. Governments, their responsibility, their commitments to their children, to their populations, to the next generation. And so that's really the motivation behind the School Meals Coalition. When we spoke with France, when we spoke with the government of Finland, and then most recently the government of Brazil, the point was, how can we get governments to talk to each other and commit to each other and to their children, to their populations, that they were going to expand these programs as part of national policies, national human capital policies, national social protection policies, and efforts to really grow the economy of countries. So the coalition was born in 2021. It is now led by the government of France, Finland, and Brazil. We're very proud of it. You will hear more about this in the session that's just about to start, so I won't take too long. But just to say, it has become a very important government-to-government network. It now has 105 countries. It's one of the most successful multilateral initiatives of recent times. We heard this yesterday for those of us that had the pleasure to be hosted by the First Lady. And we are quite proud at WFP to be the secretariat of this massive movement in favor of children and local economies. The coalition was launched in 2021. And in the context of the Food Systems Summit has really grown also in a kind of an ecosystem of partners that are supporting. The coalition has more than 130 partner organizations, the major UN agencies, NGOs, think tanks, foundations, and advocacy groups, et cetera, that are joining to support governments in their mission to expand access to these programs. More than 50 countries have made commitments, national commitments to the coalition, so they are in the process of implementing those commitments. Kenya is one of them, and that's why we're here. We're very honored to be hosted by the government of Kenya. When governments joined the coalition, they started to say, okay, we're happy to scale up the program, but we're actually challenged in many ways. We have bottlenecks. And one of those bottlenecks was ministers were asking for better evidence. They were asking for, how do we know what's best practice? How do we know what works and what doesn't work? And so the first initiative of the coalition was born in 2021, which is the Research Consortium for School Health and Nutrition. You will hear a little bit more about this in a video that you're going to see in a second. But that initiative is hosted by the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And the job of that initiative is to collate and digest the evidence that, that's available for these programs and provide better guidance for decision makers. The second challenge was we started to see governments saying, okay, we want to do this. We believe in the evidence. This makes sense. But what about the financing? Where's the money going to come from? These programs are not cheap. They really require an investment from governments, and not always is that available. And this cuts across all income levels, but certainly low-income countries are the ones that struggle the most. So the second initiative of the coalition was born, the Sustainable Financing Initiative, with the objective of supporting governments to figure out financing solutions for their programs. This is probably one of the most important challenges of the coalition at the moment. And then we started to say, okay, but how do we measure all of this? How do we know if governments have the tools to measure whether they're going in the right direction, if these programs are having the impact that they're supposed to be having? So the third initiative was born, the Data and Monitoring Initiative of the Coalition. It's hosted by WFP, and the objective of that initiative is to have indicators, a global database that allows us to report globally on this. It's connected to the SDGs now, but also allows governments better tools to measure their progress and measure the effects of their investments. The fourth and youngest initiative of the coalition was born later, the Cities Feeding the Future initiative, because at that point the governments were saying to us, okay, great, we have an infrastructure that's mobilizing governments at the central level, but actually subnational governments are quite important. Mayors, municipalities are actually in charge of implementing these programs. They are spending, in many cases, a lot of their own money to implement, and they're the ones that actually are in charge of many of this operational reality. So the Cities Feeding the Future was born 2 years ago, I think, hosted by the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact, because they also hold a very important best practice in the area of urban school meals programs and what they've been able to do in Milan. So that's the coalition ecosystem. And what we wanted to show you now is a very small video that we put together so you can get a snapshot of the achievements of the coalition and this ecosystem in practice. Over to the production.
The School Meals Coalition is driving transformative change in school meals across the world to ensure every child receives a nutritious meal in school by 2030. In just 3 years, the coalition membership has increased from 46 governments and 44 partners to 103 governments and over 130 partners. These partnerships have improved investment in school meals by $5 billion between 2020 and 2022, reaching over 418 million children globally. The coalition is led by a committed task force, which sets priorities and leads positioning of school meals. Thanks to the advocacy of the coalition, school meals are now an important part of global and regional priorities. 49 countries have put forward national commitments to scale up their programs. Some have set targets to source up to 80% of their food locally and revise their nutritional guidelines, while others are switching to cleaner cooking technologies in schools and introducing digital tools to ensure better accountability. Many are determined to achieve universal coverage by 2030 through additional financial investments. Progress is driven by the coalition's 4 initiatives. The Research Consortium, supporting 48 countries to document their programs through case studies. These efforts have informed policies in 12 countries across 3 regions. The Sustainable Financing Initiative is partnering with 8 countries to develop tailored financing strategies. The Data and Monitoring Initiative has improved global data on school meals by creating a comprehensive global database and securing the inclusion of school meals in the Sustainable Development Goal on education. The Cities Feeding the Future initiative is forging new partnerships, inspiring cities to increase support for school meals. These initiatives are helping countries to improve nutrition and ensure impactful programs. The coalition has positioned school meals at key global platforms. For example, the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty is highlighting the importance of school meal policies. Powerful exchanges at regional conferences have created new regional dynamics. At least 8 regional events have taken place since 2023, with some leading to the creation of school meals regional networks and a national school meals coalition in Kenya. Countries are connecting across sectors to address the needs of children while making progress in health and food systems. The coalition's journey has been a remarkable one, marked by bold actions. Governments have shown impressive leadership in school meals, connecting with coalition partners including multilateral organizations and international financial institutions. Civil society partners have convened events to promote school meals, fostering connections to enhance partnerships. At the first School Meals Coalition's Global Summit in France in 2023, civil society organizations launched their joint call to action in support of government commitments to school meals. As the coalition celebrates surpassing the 100-member milestone, more work lies ahead. The coalition will continue to galvanize meaningful partnerships for more action to ensure that all children can receive a daily nutritious school meal by 2030.
So that's the coalition. We are here in Kenya with the Taskforce, which are the 12 countries that guide the coalition, that govern the coalition, together with partners, to discuss the future. This is what today is about. It's what are the future investments, the future direction of the coalition. As we move forward, what governments have really clearly told us is that ideally the vision of the coalition is to ensure that every child receives a healthy meal in school by 2030. So that's the North Star that we are managing at the moment. And one of the things that we would like to see, as you saw in this video, is countries setting a target for not regionalizing, nationalizing supply chains, having local purchase of school meals so that local smallholder farmers can benefit. We would like to see programs that are incorporating climate-friendly food in programs, more nutritious diets, diverse diets as well. So programs that are even reformed or started from scratch with climate and planetary boundaries in mind. We would like to see programs that are also combining nutrition education to make sure that children know what a nutritious diet is, what a planet-friendly diet is, and we can influence a whole new generation of children as they grow up. We would like to see also infrastructure investments. We would like to see cleaner cooking technologies in schools. We would like to see policies to reduce food waste in schools. We would like to see recycling also in schools. So the idea is to slowly, through the coalition, through the initiatives, and through a lot of the momentum that you've seen, start to really ignite this movement towards sustainable, nutritious, climate-friendly, planet-friendly school meals around the world. That's what we're working for. When I was a young professional, one of the reasons why I decided to devote my career really to this topic is because the world is a pretty difficult place these days. It's, I don't know about you, but finding hope, finding inspiration, sometimes it's very difficult. We're living in tumultuous times, and if you just look at a newspaper every day, it's really difficult to find good news stories these days. We are actually in a world that's, the word polycrisis is being thrown around. It's really difficult to understand where do we go from here. And it's quite easy for a person, from a human being, to feel powerless, to feel hopeless. What are we supposed to do as human beings? Well, this is an agenda that I believe we can all do something about. I certainly believe I can do something in my lifetime to make sure that more children receive these meals in school and that these programs are transformational for communities and for countries. So in closing, as we get ready for our guest, for our main speakers, I want to invite all of you to join us, to join me, to join the leaders of the coalition in this objective, to see if within our lifetimes we can use and expand access to school meal programs to as many children as possible, transform food systems, and in the process transform their lives. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us today.
Let's appreciate Carmen Bano. Thank you so much for such a welcoming brief. We sincerely appreciate. Thank you so much, my colleague Simon, for a wonderful job well done. His Excellency is already within the meeting area, and therefore we want to welcome our presidential escort band to give us some interludes as we await for the arrival of His Excellency to this main dais. I will request when His Excellency makes his way here, we will all be upstanding to welcome him. And thereafter we'll have a national anthem, then the prayer session, and the program will proceed. For now, allow me to invite the Presidential Escort Band with some interludes. Welcome, Presidential Escort Band. just continue with the intellect kindly as you await for the arrival of His Excellency. Presidential escort. Thank you, Presidential Escort Band. Just keeping the room warm as we await for the arrival of His Excellency. In a few minutes, he'll be joining us. Presidential Escort Band, kindly give us another number. His Excellency is just finalizing the morning brief, and then he's joining us in the meeting. And as I had earlier guided, when he's coming, all of us will be requested to stand so that we may be able to welcome him in as we proceed with the meeting. Welcome, Presidential. So let's be upstanding.
Welcome, Your Excellency. We'll all be upstanding. We'll start with the two anthems, starting with the Kenyan National Anthem, followed by the East African Anthem. The Kenyan National Anthem. While we remain standing, Your Excellency, allow me to now invite Sheikh Abdi Osman and Father Linus Elkai to lead us in a short word of prayer to begin this plenary session. Karibuni.
Praise be to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, Master of the day of judgment. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. O Allah, we thank you for blessing of our school meals. We ask you to provide for those in need within our community. May you bless our efforts to support each other and guide us to share and care for all. O Allah, instill in our hearts the spirit of generosity and compassion. Help us recognize the needs of our children and inspire us to contribute to their well-being. May we work together to ensure that no one goes hungry to school. O Allah, unite us in our purpose to combat hunger and support one another. Grant us the strength and resources to create a nurturing environment for all our children. May our actions reflect your mercy and kindness. O Allah, we are very grateful for the food we have and the community we share. We pray for those who struggle with food insecurity, and we ask for your guidance, and we strive to make a difference. Let our hearts be filled with gratitude and our hands ready to help. Amen.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Almighty God, we come before you with the humility to place our cherished nation, Kenya, in your hands. God, our Father Almighty, we come before you with the humility so that we love you and redeem our land. We pray for peace all over our country. We pray for those who are doing exams this year, invigilators, students, supervisors, and center managers involved in ongoing examinations, that they may approach their work with integrity and bravery. Lord, we pray for our beloved President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for the good work he's doing in this Republic of Kenya. Guide him, protect him, and give him strength always. I pray also for the delegates that are gathered here, the efforts they place into serving our people, humanity. We also pray for this meeting, that you, for the grace, your grace be bestowed. I pray also for this meeting, so that the purpose we intended for it may be realized. We know that you have a divine agenda for this meeting, that even when we are done what we have existed, the results are so much greater than what we ever could have imagined. Our prayer today is that your will be done through this meeting. Take what we have prepared and multiply your efforts only. You can steer all intentions that are geared for the good of all. We ask this through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Let us kindly take our seats. Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Mr. Julius Migos Ogamba, all Cabinet Secretaries and Ministers present, the Governor, Nairobi County, Honorable Johnson Sakaja, the Principal Secretary, State Department for Basic Education, Honorable Belio Kipsang, all Principal Secretaries present, Nairobi County Leadership, Ms. Cindy McCain, Executive Director, World Food Program, Mr. Pasi Hellman, Under-Secretary of the State for International Development in Finland, regional and country directors, distinguished invited guests. Welcome to the second ministerial meeting of the Taskforce of the Schools Meals Coalition. The School Meals Coalition aims at ensuring that every child has an opportunity to receive a healthy, nutritious daily meal by 2030. At this point, allow me to welcome all of you to watch a short video on Kenya's School Meals Program. Karibu.
In my future, I want to be a flying doctor who is a surgeon. Travel from one country to another to help people.
School meals are helping thousands of children across Kenya stay in school and give them the nutrition they need to learn and perform better.
A learner cannot study when they are empty stomachs, so they have to eat and be satisfied so that they can get the energy of studying.
Kenya's school meal program started in the 1980s in a collaboration between the Government of Kenya and WFP. Since 2018, the program has been run and financed by the Kenyan government. Today, it has reached 2.6 million students. Kenya is a proud and dedicated member of the School Meals Coalition, committed to universal coverage by 2030, and has established its own National School Meals Coalition. Kenya has recently emerged from the worst drought in decades, and school meals have provided a critical safety net, keeping vulnerable children fed and in school. As Kenya embarks on its journey to reach 10 million children by 2030, the country is also taking a lead on tackling the climate crisis through its planet-friendly approach to school feeding. This means finding cleaner, more sustainable ways of cooking to lower the carbon footprint.
Mara ya kwanza kulima viazi tamu nilikuwa na changamoto ya soko. Mapato ambayo ninapata saa hizi yananisaidia kwanza kufundisha watoto wangu.
By buying drought-tolerant crops and vegetables in bulk from groups of local farmers, like orange-fleshed sweet potatoes, school meals boost local economies and create jobs in the community, especially for women and youth. Every $1 invested in school meals generates $9 for the economy. By supporting Kenya's School Meals program, we are investing in the next generation and in our future leaders.
A round of applause for the work that is already going on. Your Excellency, sir, with your permission, allow me to now invite the Governor, Nairobi County, Honorable Johnson Sakaja, who I know has a special passion for school meals within Nairobi. Why don't we give him a warm round of applause as he comes to make a few remarks. Welcome, Governor.
Thank you very much. And yes, I do have a passion for school meals. Your Excellency, our President, William Samoei Ruto, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, CS for Education, our guests who are here, ambassadors. Let me start by welcoming all of you to Nairobi. I want to welcome all our visitors to Nairobi. Our President will welcome you to Kenya, but I have a chance to welcome you to Nairobi, the green city under the sun. We're very happy to host all of you. You know, when you're in a room with adults talking about school feeding, you know you're in a room full of good people, because it's just good people who can be passionate about our future and about our children. So please enjoy Nairobi. We're the only capital in the world with a natural national park, untouched and spoiled by human intervention, where you can look at the Big Five, and in the background, you have the skyline of the city. It happens nowhere else, only in Nairobi. So before you leave, because I'm told you had quite some fun yesterday, before you leave, please make sure you pass by the national park. It gives me great pleasure to join you, Your Excellency, and our guests, as we deliberate and hear from various people about this very important issue, feeding the future generation. Last October, Your Excellency, I had the pleasure of representing you at the first School Meals Coalition Global Summit in Paris, an opportunity that allowed me to share our story as Kenya and of Nairobi, and what you're doing in this city in advancing the mission of ensuring every child has access to a nutritious meal by 2030. Today, I'm pleased to stand here and tell you that that story is going on, and we have made a lot of progress. At that time, it was barely 2 months old. Today, it is 14 months. And for me, it really all started post-COVID, after the COVID pandemic, when then as senator, I visited one of the schools. We were donating desks. There had been some vandalism. And you ask the children, what would you like us to do for you? Normally, they would say, we want footballs, we want sweets. But these children were saying they want food, you know, and I was lost. I didn't know what to do. So I looked for some maize and I took, but that was not sustainable. Your Excellency, you challenged me. And you gave me a statistic that time. I've never forgotten. You told me that there are more children out of school in Nairobi due to hunger than in one of our northern counties. Let me not mention it. And I said that cannot be. And so I went on to do my research, and it was true. 1 out of 4 children were missing school in Nairobi, in the capital city, because of hunger. Some were going to school twice a week. Others, when they would be told to go look for lunch, they would not come back to school. And we said that we must change that. We tried to bring legislation that time in the Senate. It went through the Senate, didn't go through the next house. But we sat again with you, Your Excellency, because you have been the inspiration. And we agreed in Dagoretti to put it in both our manifestos. You put it in the National Manifesto, and I put it in the Nairobi County Manifesto. The research that we had done revealed some truths, that Nairobi desperately needed a school feeding program to ensure that all our children do not, no child faces hunger while striving for education. And we called it Dish in a County. This morning, Your Excellency, I was chatting with a friend of mine and founder for Food for Education, Wawira Njiro. She reminded me the urgency that particularly drives us as Africa, because I can see many Africans here. In the 1950s, the European population was 22% of the world. In 2050, it will be 7%. In the same 1950s, the African population was 7%. In 2050, 1 out of 4 people will be here in Africa. Everyone is asking, what do we do about Africa's young people? The first thing, obviously, is to secure their future through education, through keeping them in school, through feeding them. And that is why we see this as an African solution to a global concern. Launched last year in August 2023 with only 80,000 learners in 45 schools. The program has now grown to reach 310,000 learners in over 230 public schools in Nairobi in 1 year. In this first year, we have served, Your Excellency, 30 million meals in Nairobi County. The food is distributed in a hub and spoke model where we have different kitchens in different parts of the city. and they cook every day, and the meals are distributed to the schools surrounding them. We have a great partnership. We engaged and procured food for education, and Wawira Njiru is here. Please stand up. We need to clap for you because of the work you're doing. She's a great partner because we believe in localized, homegrown solutions. Thank you so much, Wawira. And they run the logistics of it. We provide the political leadership. We provide the policy direction towards that. These kitchens, the 17 kitchens, Your Excellency, have become a backbone of a network dedicated to serve nutritious, affordable meals to these children. And some of them don't finish their food. They pack it and take it back home to their siblings and to their parents. And that's a sad reality. But thanks to our collaboration, we ensure that these meals are to the highest nutrition, highest standards of safety, because our children deserve nothing less. Your Excellency, we even made sure that it is domiciled with a minister. So our health minister in Nairobi, our CEC, is in charge of school feeding, and she is here, Susan Silantoi. Pia tumpigie makofi. I've given you the dynamic of generations. She's also the youngest minister in Kenya. She became minister at 29. And so she understands she's feeding her generation. Our model is designed to be accessible to all. Parents pay a nominal fee of 5 shillings, which is hardly 4 US cents, facilitated through a tap-to-eat payment system embedded in a watch like this that I'm wearing. Through this watch, and if you go around Nairobi, you'll see all our children wearing this watch. It's an NFC device. We're harnessing technology and data to make sure all our children are well fed. And of course, Nairobi, is a silicon savannah. So being a hub of innovation, our young people are the ones who innovated this. And we're telling many things. For instance, we can tell if a child is skipping school through this technology. We can tell how often they're attending. Wastage is close to 0% because we're using predictive analytics to prepare meals so that there's no extra. It is just enough for those schools that we're going. And it's more than that. The children refuse to remove this watch because it has given them identity. And when they go back home and on the weekends, they're still wearing this watch. They feel loved. They feel seen. They feel heard. And it gives them dignity. No child is pulled out of the school line in case the wallet doesn't have that 5 shillings. We take note of it and we pay for it. And I want to thank my friend Arnold Balozi, because thank you so much, Balozi. Your Excellency, when you did the Africa Climate Summit, I hijacked his minister called Crisula and took her to Olympic Primary School and showed her what was happening. And the children just are so happy. They mob you and they laughed with her. She gave us €1 million to feed 10% who can't afford. So we hope and note that 1 million euros is also coming this financial year for the 10% who cannot, some can't even afford that 5 shillings. So please, Your Excellency, by reducing hunger, we have shown the impact. There's an increment in school attendance. In the past 1 year, enrollment has gone up by more than 34%. An example of a school we've been with you together, Umoja 1 Primary, population has moved from 1650 to 2,552, more than 900 students because of the introduction of this. We used to have 210,000 children in Nairobi schools. Now there are 316,000 in our schools. And we want to thank you because now you pledged and you gave. You didn't just say it. 1 billion shillings to Nairobi County to increase the classroom so that we can have more of these children coming to our schools. So this is the first, and thank you so much, Your Excellency, for that. And as those primary schools are built, the county government is also building the ECDs. We're doing 500 of them each year, and MPs through NGCDF are to do the public primary schools. I want to conclude because I can talk about this all day. But this is the first universal school feeding program in Kenya, and I want to encourage the ministry and also my colleague governors. School feeding is not a function. It is a responsibility. It is not a role in the constitution. It is a responsibility of every parent. And so we should stop saying this is for national, this is for county. And I love the example we have in Nairobi with the intergovernmental partnership, that we have seen beyond those lines, that we are doing it together. I would encourage us to do it across the country. Your Excellency, and I think Dr. Ali will confirm, because it was contentious, we are using clean technology to cook. Positively impacting the environment. Our briquettes are eco-friendly, 100%. But we also have infrastructure for gas. And the lower the cost and the cleaner the energy, we're going to go into that. Our parents are also filling customer service forms, and the children, customer satisfaction. Don't just give kids food that is not tasty. Give children food that they will also enjoy And so far, we are 4.5 out of 5. The only challenge, Your Excellency, is the only place where they're saying they're not getting filled is Kangemi and Kangware, and I know why. And they're my people. They want now more of Ugali. And, and we've discussed that with Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi. Finally, Your Excellency, our impact measurement is being carried out by KEMRI and London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, who are conducting a 3-year impact study on Dishina County, Nairobi County, because we want it to be sustainable beyond just the individuals. Nairobians are now asking, how can they pay by M-Pesa to support one child, to support 5 children, so that, the people also want to contribute. So we're setting up the governance structures, we're putting together the board and a secretariat for it, so that the public can also get a watch and contribute to our children. I'll just give you 2 examples of testimonials. One of them, which I think for me has been the most touching testimonial, incidentally, for me, has not been from a child. It's been from Dominic Mwirigi. Dominic Mwirigi, Your Excellency, is a driver. He delivers food every day from our central kitchen in Toi Primary for Kibra Sub-County to all the schools in Kibra. And he says, and I quote, "You should see the children when you drive into the school. They are excited to know we have brought lunch. Even parents are excited." But the clincher, Your Excellency, he says, even on the roads, when there is traffic, everybody moves aside and says, "Please, pitisha yo chakula, take the food to our children." Your Excellency, if matatus can move for you, you're doing a good thing. If our matatus can actually give way, and they give way across the city. At lunchtime, there are these buses all over. The last one, of course, is Mildred. Mildred was in New Kiumbwini Primary School. Mildred is a total orphan, and she was being raised by grandparents of the neighbors, actually. Mildred, I met her in January when we were issuing our bursaries for high school. And we don't have a feeding program in high school. But she was wearing this watch. So I asked her, "Why are you wearing this? You've gone to high school." And she gave me her story. Mildred said that she used to perform very badly in primary school because she would go to school once or twice a week. And when there was no food, she'd have to go to the market in Kangemi to sell or to find food. And she was performing bottom of the class. In the 3rd term, when we launched the program with Your Excellency, New Kiumbwini Primary School was one of the first ones that were onboarded and would have meals every day. Meaning, Mildred was in school every day. Mildred performed top 10 in Nairobi because of this. And she was called to Loreto Convent. Loreto Limuru. And she said, "Governor, I will never stop wearing this watch. Even in high school, I will still wear it, because if it was not for this watch, I would have failed my KCPE, I would have not come to high school." That is a changed life. And there are many stories like that of children. So it's not just about the children, it provides jobs. We have created more than 2,000 jobs. The farmers across the country were discussing, Your Excellency, green grams from Meru, Kitui, Tharaka Nithi counties. Western beans are coming from Busia County, tomatoes from Machakos, Kirinyaga, and Nakuru counties. Cabbages from Nyandarua County, Your Excellency, in this program. I could go on. And I'm glad you've also, directed that we can get more support in terms of food stuff from the cereals board, because now we need more uptake. So in Nairobi, we normally say, Your Excellency, because we want to partner with you with your commitment of moving to 10 million children by 2030. We want to make sure every child, because now we're moving to the informal schools in Nairobi, every single child in this city. Because as leaders, what other prerogative do we have than to give children equality of a chance, just an equal shot at life? That each child has the same chance, that your child has the same chance as the child in Kibera, in the child in Mukuru, that's the same shot at life. And then the rest we leave to God and to education. In Nairobi, we say, watoto wakule, washibe, wasome. Let the children eat, be satisfied, and learn. This captures our commitment to holistic child development. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to appreciate our president, because he has been consistent on this issue of school feeding. We would not have gotten here, Your Excellency, if it was not for your, not just consistency, but your follow-up and your prodding us and the ministry. Please, let's clap for our president for that. We want to thank you sincerely as Nairobi. The children of Nairobi, thank you. One or two things, of course, we will tie you might attend, but for the biggest part, this success, you're part of it. So thank you so much. To our guests, please, if you have time, I would like you to visit. I know the schools are closed, some are doing exams, but we can organize for you to see just the model of the kitchens. These kitchens have become temples because we did not compromise on quality. They are possibly the best buildings we have built, of course, until you finish your affordable housing ones. Mine are the best currently. They are beautiful, they are clean, best materials. If you go to the informal settlements, you just see them standing out. Please find time. Bona PS, you can coordinate. Right here, we have Rosambu Primary, you can look at it. We have some in Westlands. Based on where you're staying, they're all over the city. We'd love to give you a tour. May God bless you and feel at home in Nairobi. I'd like at this point to introduce and to welcome our Executive Director of World Food Program, Ms. Cindy McCain, to make her remarks. Welcome, Cindy. Let's clap for her as she comes. And you clap until she gets here. That's how we do in Nairobi, until she gets on stage. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's so inspiring for us, those of us at WFP, to see leaders like this that not only care about what you're doing, but that are enthused about it, and that enthusiasm is spreading. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. Your Excellency, Mr. President, Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretaries, senior government officials, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Global School Meals Coalition, and distinguished guests. It's a great pleasure for us to be here today for the meeting of the Task Force of the School Meals Coalition. I would like to express my personal gratitude to President Ruto and the Kenyan government for welcoming us to your beautiful country and for hosting this extremely important conversation. We're here to discuss the vital need to invest in school meals programs and their limitless potential to help our children and communities and our nations thrive. So it is appropriate that we've come together here in Nairobi to chart the future course of the School Meals Coalition. Kenya has been an inspiring champion for school meals in recent decades. For many years, the World Food Program and successive Kenyan governments have worked together to deliver nutritious meals to school children across the country. Since 2018, the program has been fully led by the government. And thanks to President Ruto's commitment and vision, it continues to go from strength to strength. Kenya is a shining example to other countries that want to invest in their children and their futures. We look forward to today's important conversations. Let's remind ourselves why School Meals Coalition was created and why it's so important. Back in 2021, the world was battling COVID-19, and over 1.6 billion children were out of school due to lockdowns, poverty rates were rising, and food systems were buckling as supply chains seized up. Governments were urgently looking for solutions to tackle their interlinked crises. School Meals Program was identified very soon as a powerful and cost-effective way to ensure that the most vulnerable children receive a nutritious meal, often their only one of the day, while also supporting their families and their communities. Fortunately, countries across the globe recognized the immense potential and transformational impact. In 2021, at the UN Food Systems Summit, leaders from France, Finland, and Kenya, together with 46 other countries and the African Union, came together to launch the coalition. They set a bold, ambitious goal that by 2030, every child should receive a healthy meal and in school. Today, more than 100 countries spanning all income levels have committed to this objective and are working hard to implement, expand, and strengthen their national school meals program. WFP is proud to host the Secretariat of the Coalition, and we are firmly committed to supporting its vital work. The Coalition is also backed by 130 partners, including civil society organizations, foundations, UN agencies, and academic institutions, which provide crucial technical, financial, and policy support. School meals have been embraced worldwide. And why? Because they get vulnerable children, especially little girls, back into school and help keep them there. They reduce, thank you. They reduce poverty by boosting income for farming families and communities, while also supporting climate-smart agriculture. They create new jobs, often benefiting small community catering companies, mostly led by women. And these programs support local markets and inject cash into local economies. The School Meals Coalition has a critical role helping governments to realize the many benefits. We've come a long way in a very short time, but we still have more to do. In our meeting, we'll take stock of the progress, celebrate our successes, and discuss what the coalition's priorities should be for the next 2 years. I'm delighted that the co-chairs of the coalition, Brazil, Finland, and France, have all sent senior representatives to this meeting. They will help us guide our conversations and as we delve into a number of important topics. Access to sustainable financing is critical, so countries are able to afford the investments required to expand national programs. We need better coordination between sectors, both nationally and globally, to ensure we unlock the full range of potential health, education, social and economic benefits. And we must also ensure that school meals are designed in ways that strengthen food systems, benefit smallholder farmers, and support sustainable, climate-smart agriculture. We're extremely fortunate that Brazil is using its current G20 presidency to formally launch a new global alliance against hunger and poverty at next month's Leaders Summit. This is a golden opportunity to drive rapid progress on school meals globally, and we must grasp it with both hands. Mr. President, Excellencies, we still have a long road ahead, but our task today is to identify solutions and galvanize renewed action on this critical agenda. I am confident that with your continued partnership and collaboration, we will reach our goal and our destination, a world where every child has the opportunity to grow and thrive and have dignity in the process. Thank you.
Ms. McCain, please. At this point, Your Excellency, it gives me great pleasure to invite the Undersecretary of State for International Development at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Finland, and the co-chairperson of the Schools Meals Coalition, Mr. Pasi Hellman. Let's give him a warm welcome. Mr. Pasi, karibu.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, Cabinet Secretaries, other senior government officials, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the School Meals Coalition, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor to join this important gathering on a theme that is very important for Finland. And it is an honor to address this distinguished group as a co-chair of the School Meals Coalition. I'm also very happy to be back in the city of Nairobi, the city that I called my home city between 1996 and 98. I would first like to thank President Ruto for hosting this event. Kenya has been a leader on school meals for many years, and it is clear that under the leadership of President Ruto, that commitment has only grown. As we gather today, we all know the challenges that the world is currently facing. The global landscape is shifting rapidly, and our intention with the efforts of the School Meals Coalition is to respond to some of those challenges with effective policies. Challenges such as learning crisis and unsustainable food systems in too many parts of the world. Finland's own history with school meals goes back to 1940s. At that time, we introduced free of charge school meals to combat post-war poverty and malnutrition. And at the time, Finland was still a poor country, relying heavily on agriculture, with nearly 40% of 15-year-olds being illiterate. Now, over 80 years later, we have developed into a modern welfare state, recognized for having one of the best education systems in the world. And we sincerely believe that our school meal system has played an important role in this. So Finland is very proud to co-chair this coalition alongside our partners, Brazil and France. We continue to advance the goals of the coalition both nationally and internationally. We continue to provide also financial support for school meal programs worldwide. I'm pleased to announce our latest concrete commitment. We will be allocating still later this year 5.5 million euros to WFP's school meals program globally, with a special emphasis on African countries, Burundi, Kenya, Liberia, and Zambia, as well as also in Yemen, Syria, and Myanmar. The support will also go to support the School Meals Program Secretariat hosted by the WFP. In our view, the School Meals Coalition has become one of the most successful multilateral initiatives of recent times, and definitely the most significant outcome from the United Nations Food Systems Summit in 2021. It has delivered concrete results on an agenda that we all can agree is important. We have seen impressive progress in many countries. We have seen Rwanda, Benin, and Lesotho increase coverage to reach almost all children. We are inspired, as always, by the national program in Brazil, with its model of buying food from smallholder farmers, and of the efforts of Guatemala and Honduras, to name a few of the success stories. And I'm very happy to see their representatives on a very high level here. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that Kenya's ambition to reach 10 million children by 2030 is impressive. You have the support of the School Meals Coalition and its partners. We would like to work with President Ruto and the Kenyan authorities to make sure that this good example is shared with the rest of the world. We encourage you to make sure Kenya's school meal commitments feature strongly in the new Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, to be launched shortly by Brazil at the G20 summit. And we believe it is also opportune to connect School Meals Coalition to the Nutrition for Growth Summit. And of course, we are very much looking forward to the next School Meals Coalition high-level summit in Brazil in 2025. And looking ahead, our mission remains clear: to ensure that by 2030, every child everywhere has access to a healthy and nutritious school meal. This goal, ambitious as it is, requires us all to intensify our efforts and build on the remarkable progress we have made together. I thank you for your attention.
Allow me, Your Excellency, at this point to invite the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, Mr. Julius Ogamba, to make his remarks. He will then in turn invite His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, for his remarks. Let's give him a warm welcome. Karibu Waziri.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, our Prime Cabinet Secretary, Your Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, His Excellency the Governor of Nairobi, Honorable Johnson Sakaja, colleague honorable ministers present, government representatives here, development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, let me start by first thanking you for finding time out of your very busy schedule to officially open this meeting. It is a great honor. We have been looking forward to hosting this high-level Ministerial Taskforce meeting of the Global School Meals Coalition in Nairobi today. Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard yesterday, during the dinner kindly hosted by Her Excellency, the First Lady, Kenya has a long-standing history and engagement in school meals that started in 1980, when the program started with the support from the World Food Program. We have experienced for many years how school meals do play a significant role in meeting education-related objectives. School meals increase school enrollment. It improves school attendance. It creates gender parity and contributes to improved health and nutritional status. This ultimately enhances the ability to focus, engage, and succeed academically. Kenya school meals, which is accessible to 2.6 million children to date, make a real difference for many of the most vulnerable children and communities in some of the driest parts of the country and the informal settlements in our cities. For many children, the meal in schools is the first and sometimes the only meal of the day. Hence, it's a critical safety net for many families to ensure food security. Indeed, for many girls in Kenya, we have seen that school meals can be a real game changer, which enables them to remain in school, access more opportunities, and have a prospect to lead a more fulfilling and healthy life in the future. Kenya is now taking school meals to a whole new level, making them available to 10 million children by 2030, by implementing our new scale-up plan, which was consolidated with the kind support of the World Food Program and the Rockefeller Foundation. Your Excellency, for this, our newly launched national chapter of the School Meals Coalition will be the coordinating mechanism to bring both of our different arms of government and our development partners together to align behind Kenya's scale-up plan and to support our government to implement it all together. Today, Your Excellency, Kenya proudly reaffirms its commitment to the Global School Meals Coalition and Kenya's goals, including the scale-up plan for universal coverage to reach many more children and families in Kenya, while ensuring a planet-friendly approach to achieve this. I take this early opportunity to appreciate the support and collaboration by all as we work to realize the school meals program scale-up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome His Excellency, our Prime Cabinet Secretary, to make his remarks and thereafter invite Your Excellency to speak to us. Thank you, and so much.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, Madam Cindy McCain, Your Excellencies, Ministers, High Commissioners and Ambassadors present, members of the Kenyan public and private sector partners who are present here today. Good morning. Your Excellency, allow me to digress a little, just for a minute or so. I'll make only 2 points or 3, and that's it. One, from the Kenyan political landscape, the word coalition normally sends jitters. Because whenever there's the term coalition, somebody's thinking some new political setup is in the offing. But today, we want to tell them, hold your horses. This coalition is not about politics. This coalition is about lives. We are here because it's a coalition bringing everybody together so that we can save lives and make those lives grow into productive personalities all over. That then also brings me to the second point. Your Excellency, it is estimated that in areas of conflict in Africa, there are close to 100 million children out of school. They don't have the possibility of accessing school because of conflict, because people are fighting, because there are vagaries of climate change and so forth, all combining and creating a very hostile environment for young people to go to school. So it's on that note that I just want to emphasize that in all this, the whole issue of stability, political stability, and democratic regimes and governments that are brought in through the popular vote by the people really matter, because it is political stability that will allow us to have the school children go there and allow us to feed them. So it is on that note that I commend the political climate in Kenya. Very vibrant, but it's all by the book. This is the only place where a presidential election can be nullified, but people go back to the ballot and get out of that hole. This is where our institutions are beginning to show resilience and the ability to consolidate governance in a positive way. So it's on that note that I wish to invite His Excellency the President, because it's on the basis of political stability and the rule of law that we are able to speak here today about expanding this program. Finally, just to reemphasize that we have had very good partnership with the World Food Program in a number of areas, and we are already in discussion for broadening the scope of that partnership. I will not disclose what it is, but the President is seized with it, and we shall move together and make sure that we realize that broadened partnership with the WFP. Your Excellency, may I invite you to the floor, and ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding so that we can welcome His Excellency the President to make his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Let me, on behalf of the government and people of Kenya, take this opportunity, first and foremost, to welcome our friends, the Director General of the World Food Program, the coalition partners from the different countries, friends and leaders who've come from different parts of the world to join us on this very important school meals coalition that we are celebrating here today, and with the intention of looking at how can we make this better, how can we make this school feeding program serve many more Kenyans and many more children across the world. And therefore, on behalf of the government of Kenya, I want to welcome all of you to Kenya. We have already been welcomed to Nairobi by the governor of Nairobi. We are privileged to hold this second ministerial meeting of the School Meals Coalition Task Force in partnership with the World Food Program. And it is an honor to host you, our esteemed visitors and partners, in the noble mission of building a better tomorrow for our children. We all know that our children are a blessing to us as parents and to us as a nation and humanity. We can never think about tomorrow without thinking about our children. And therefore, when we sit around a table, when we sit in a meeting like this to discuss our children, it is sacred. And it is the right thing to do. And it's emotional when we are discussing about feeding our children. especially those who would otherwise not have an opportunity to have a meal. And therefore, all over the world, children spend or ought to spend 75% of their time at school. And under ideal conditions, that would be the case. And they should receive at least half of their daily meals. It has been our long-held aspiration to maximize school enrollment and retention to ensure every child in Kenya has access to education. Recognizing that access to food and nutrition is a significant factor in keeping children in school, Kenya introduced the school meals program as early as 1966, when I was born, just 3 years after our independence. That's how long we have a history with school feeding program. It is the one thing that I insisted that must be in the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza, because we still have too many children out of school, and it is the reason why I specifically asked the governor of Nairobi that we cannot have the capital city of Kenya with too many children out of school, largely because of two things: infrastructure in our schools, and secondly, hunger. And I am very proud of what Nairobi County is doing and what collectively as a government we are doing in this space to keep our children in school and to make sure that to the extent possible, they have a meal. We have wonderful people. We have amazing people like Wawera. This little girl, allow me to say that, is an amazing human being. She has provided the infrastructure for Nairobi County and others to serve meals, hot meals, to children, not in the city of Nairobi alone, but in many parts of Kenya. Congratulations. There are people who work in the shoes of saints. Initially, the program was implemented only in Nairobi. However, the entry of the World Food Program transformed us and expanded scale nationally. The outcome has been inspiring. It is undeniable that Kenya has recorded exemplary rates of enrollment, retention, and academic performance throughout the duration of this program since 1980, when World Food Program came into this space. In implementing the school feeding program, we have remained dynamic and innovative and always on the lookout for strategies to enhance the program's reach and also the program's impact. In 2009, we adopted a sustainable and homegrown model, which relies on locally sourced nutritious foods. And by 2018, the program was fully integrated as a national initiative, now benefiting 2.6 million learners, more than tenfold increase from the initial 240 when this program started. The program's transformative impact extends beyond education, stimulating value chains within our agriculture and food systems and boosting our economy. School meals, therefore, have a far-reaching benefits. They make adequate nutrition accessible, foster learning, create jobs, promote sustainability, and also uplift communities. Yet, hunger remains a significant challenge to the well-being of many, particularly in arid and semi-arid areas, and also in our informal settlements. To address this, we have tripled the budgetary allocation for school feeding and set a clear goal to expand the program's coverage from 2.6 million kids to 10 million children by 2030. Towards this end, we launched an operational plan to scale up the program early this month. We are committed to action and fully determined to succeed. Kenya is also addressing climate change or climate challenges by combining initiatives that promote resilience, including robust support for school meals, provision of local sourcing, and fostering sustainable practices such as clean cooking and the adoption of drought-resistant crops. Through advocacy under the call to action climate-friendly school feeding, we are embracing eco-friendly solutions. As we do this, we realize that achieving universal coverage requires partnership on a scale that is broader than what we have. Simply put, universal coverage demands global collaboration to leverage our shared capacities. This is why Kenya joined the coalition in 2021, and we want all our partners to unite under the National School Meals Program to achieve this ambition as we do it collectively and as we do it together. The Global School Meals Coalition brings together governments, multilateral organizations like the World Food Program, and philanthropies like the Rockefeller Foundation and Novo Nordisk. Together, we are rebuilding programs post-pandemic, reaching undeserved areas, and improving efficiency. We welcome more agencies to come on board and make their contribution to a platform with the widest global reach. And I say this to not just global institutions and multilateral agencies, but to also local private sector Kenyan civil society groups and others. The coalition has given me an honor of working with leaders like President Lula of Brazil and Emmanuel Macron of France, together with Alex from Finland. These are great leaders whom I appreciate what they do, and I extend my gratitude to them and commend them in particular, and especially Brazil's G20-led Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty. Kenya calls on other nations to join in this shared quest to ensure no child is left behind. Let me also say this, that it is not possible for us to discuss school feeding in isolation. As part of making sure that all our children have access to food, we have scaled up as a government our agricultural intervention to provide and supply more food in Kenya, so that we're not just addressing issues about our children, we are addressing issues about the people of Kenya. It is the reason why we have done 3 things in our agriculture. Number 1, we have gone back to supply subsidized fertilizer to our farmers. And I'm very proud of what the farmers are doing in Kenya. It is the reason why the staple food in the last 2 years has come down by half. What was being sold for 230 shillings is now being sold for 100 shillings. Number 2, we are expanding our land under irrigation because we realize that with climate change, a much more predictable food system must be on irrigation. We have 700,000 acres under irrigation at the moment. By 2027, we want to increase that by another 500,000 acres to 1.3 million acres. And by 2032, we want to take it to 1.8 million acres to make sure that we sustainably can feed not just our population, but also our children. And thirdly, we are also making sure that we provide offtake for our farmers so that we can encourage them to do more and to make sure that we are moving in that direction. And apart from feeding our children, 2 other things are very important for our children: education and health. It is the reason why we have now expanded under the Universal Health Coverage Program what was Edu Afya, which was meant for secondary school children. Under Universal Health Coverage, we have now expanded that program to include not just children in secondary schools, but all children in primary schools and all children above the age of 5. That way, all our children have access to insurance to make sure that their health is taken care of. And number 3, on education, because we want all our children in school. I will be meeting the County of Nairobi members of parliament and leadership to discuss education in Nairobi, because we have provided 1 billion shillings to do 1,000 classrooms. Our intention is to provide another 5,000 classrooms in Nairobi County, because we want all our children in class. There are still many of our children in informal schools. And the informal schools, although they are great initiative, but they do not have the kind of infrastructure that will equalize the fortunes of all our children. We want all our children to learn in the best environment that is possible. It is also the reason why in the last 2 years, we've hired 56,000 teachers more. And next January, we're hiring another 20,000 teachers so that every child in our schools have access to a teacher and they can learn. It is also a moment that even as we move into grade 9, we've not only finalized the process of building an extra 11,000 classrooms as government. I've also asked our members of parliament, using their constituency development fund, to also build another 6,000 classrooms so that next year we are ready to make sure that every child that grows to grade 9 have a classroom, they have a teacher, and I am very happy to announce that we have already made all the learning material available. There will be a book, every subject for every learner, to make sure that our transition is complete and our transition is effective. So as we discuss school feeding program, we're discussing the health of our children, and we are discussing the education of our children, because as I said, our children are a blessing to us as families, as parents, and as a nation. And as we look after them, we ensure our future. It is the insurance that we have for our future. I salute our partners, including the World Food Programme, World Bank, Global Partnership for Education, and the governments of the United States, France, Germany, and China for their steadfast commitment. With this unwavering support, we are better positioned to pave the way to a future where every child is nourished, empowered, and equipped to grow, succeed, and be the best that they can ever be. And we give a chance to every child, as was said earlier by the earlier speakers. So let me say thank you very much for coming for this meeting. It is a meeting that is emotional for me. It's a very important meeting because we are not just discussing the present, we are also influencing the future and how that future comes out. And I want to ask all of us to provide whatever support that we need, make the necessary contributions in ideas, in innovations, and in whatever support we can to be able to make sure that we all succeed. Thank you very much, Cindy, and your team for finding time to come all the way to Kenya. You are a great partner to our country, and this coalition speaks to the heart of what we believe in as a country. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. If you may, we'll request that you just remain on stage. There is a gift presentation that is to be made by the Executive Director for World Food Programme, Madam Miss Cindy McCain, and she would like to present to you this particular picture, which, Your Excellency, is a drawing that was out of a school competition. This has been done by a 13-year-old child, and it is a gift in appreciation to your support to the school feeding programs. A round of applause for that wonderful, thoughtful gift presented to His Excellency. With your permission, Your Excellency, I'll request that we now proceed through there to where we're going to be taking a picture, a family photo, and we'll conclude with the national anthem while we're out there. As briefed earlier, kindly, the rest of us who are participating in the picture, ministers who are present and ambassadors, please let's proceed. The rest of us, kindly, let's hold our positions and we'll stay in that position until we are directed which way to go, where we'll wind up with the national anthem. We'll take a quick family photo, then from there we'll proceed.
As earlier briefed, kindly, let's have the following: Professor Saudo Madogu, His Excellency Silvio, Mr. Percy Halman, Jean